Hello, greetings from Waliczka near Krakow in Poland once again. I told you before I'm going to do more of these in the hope that I can help keep people updated regarding what's going on with their orders, with the labels, with upcoming releases, and so on and so forth. I need to do more of these. I also want to do more in the way of discussions on the channel as well with other people. But we'll get on to all of that in a minute. I'm typically being disturbed by some music at the moment. I'm blasting this out. Caspar Brotzmann. It's a love song. Just received this late last week to review, and I have to say it's doing the job. It's a live document. It gathers two live recordings from performances earlier this year in Vienna and Dresden. And I have to admit, I haven't heard Caspar Brotzmann Massaker for a long, long time. I've still got the vinyl and the CDs of the 90s work. I'm trying to remember the names now. Home would be one, Black Axis. Haven't played them for a considerable while, but always, it's another example of a group whose work I always like every time I return to it, you know. But yeah, pretty powerful stuff. So that will get a favourable review. I'd love to see these live again. I only ever saw Massaker once in London. I think the garage, upstairs garage in Islington in the early or mid 90s. Absolutely phenomenal. Really amazing show. Loved every minute of it. What can I say? There's a really good collaborative album with Caspar and his late father, Peter Brotzmann, as well. I think that's called Last Home. And I think it was released early 90s, 91 maybe, 90, on Pathological, if I remember correctly. That's really good as well. And again, it's another one of those albums that I haven't played that many times over the years, but every time I do, it hits the spot. This is good anyway, but I'll just turn it down because it's as disturbing to me as this bloody sunlight is. It's awful. It's another hot day here, so not great for packing orders or even doing any work whatsoever. Although I have had to work today, I've had to do more of my teaching work. I did a full morning of that, finished at 12:30, and then I've been packing orders since then. And I thought I should do an update regarding orders, because if any of you have been paying attention, I've done 3 releases in the last 2 or 3 weeks, namely the Richard Youngs Zirkulus LP, limited to 150, the Kleistwahr double CD of Winter and Music for Zeitgeist Fighters, and lastly this, which is what I really want to talk about. Again, When Worlds Collide, this double LP. So there we are, catching a great reflection in there, or maybe not so great. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Firstly, Zirkulus, Richard Youngs. the same as the Kleistwahr double CD. I've been mailing those out for, let's see, when did I come back from England? I came back 2 weeks ago. For the last 2 weeks, I've been mailing out the double CD by Kleistwahr, and I've been mailing out Richard Youngs' Zirkulus LP. And I've still got a pile here to mail out. And I think there's even still a few Kleistwahr double CDs to send out. So I've been very busy packing and sending both of those releases during the last 2 weeks. I've also started sending the postcard, the sound postcard less double LP to people as well. So some of those orders have started going out as well. But I think I need 2 or 3 more days just to see the back of the Richard Youngs LP and the Kleistwahr double CD. And then I can focus on When Worlds Collide, the double LP. As I said, some have already gone out. I just wanted to start getting the ball rolling. And as you might be able to see from here, you know, there's piles of boxes here, and packaging over there. It's a mess in here, and then there's more down here as well. So I'm desperate to see all of these boxes go. You know, it's that simple. I do keep reiterating this, but I appreciate it when people don't hassle me about their orders, because as I also keep repeating, it's only me doing this. And I've also got a job. I work, as I alluded to earlier. You know, I teach, also do proofreading. So I've got other commitments, and I've got a family, and you know, I'm pretty busy generally. I'm also trying to write and do other things as well. Anyway, this is a priority, and I do what I can each day. I'm packing orders constantly. I haven't even got all of the artist copies out yet to people on When Worlds Collide. So I really would appreciate it if you could just be patient. Try not to email me asking where your order is, because all it does really is just mean I've got to spend, you know, a few minutes, 5-10 minutes answering the email, you know, checking to see if I've already sent the order, checking to see if it's an order with the sound postcard, in which case I haven't started sending those out yet because I don't have the sound postcards. So true to Fourth Dimension Lumberton sort of fashion, everything's kind of erratic. But I am getting there. And I imagine the sound postcards will arrive later this week, maybe early next week. And then I've got 100 of those to send out. It will take a good 2 or 3 weeks to get most of those dealt with. And then sometime around, the 3rd, 4th week, the last week of this month, maybe the Extended Network double LP will arrive. So that will add to my work pile. But in the meantime, Richard Youngs LP. As I said, most of those have gone. A few more to deal with. I think I've still got 8 copies to pack and send. After that, although copies are still going out, after all of these packages have been dealt with, I think I'll have only 1 or 2 copies left of the Richard Youngs LP. Only did 150, but they've just kind of flown out. Sound Dome in Italy took on 40 copies and sold most of them within 2 or 3 weeks. And they've just asked for some more. I've got another 4 copies going out to them. So if you're waiting for that, it's on its way. Same as the Kleistwahr double CD. as I said, still sending copies out and still need 2 or 3 days to see the last of the orders go out. Gary probably hasn't even got his copies yet. I sent him a big package last week, and it might take another week or so to get to him. So yeah, just be patient, please. You know, you don't need to ask me about, you know, the status of your order. Everything's under control. You know, I log all the orders, and then I just, whenever the release happens, I just go through them. Sometimes a little randomly, you know. I don't always. Some people would maybe argue against this. I don't always go, you know, from top to bottom, but I like chipping away here and there. I do try and prioritise the first 10 to 20 orders, but after that, I generally kind of go in randomly. So maybe just in the hope that some of the orders near the bottom of the list will have not waited quite as long, you know. So anyway, I can only send a certain amount each day. I can pack a certain amount each day. I can only take a certain amount of packages to the post office each day. So last week, I think on Friday or Thursday, I had 20 packages, something like that, and there were 3 people in the queue behind me, and I was getting some really evil glares. So I could feel my back burning, you know. So yeah, so I'm not comfortable with taking too many to the post office. It's only a tiny place as well. So, you know, 15 to 20 is a kind of limit. And that's really all I can manage time-wise as well. You know, 15 to 20 packages can take, 20 to 30 minutes in the post office. So, you know, I'm always rushing around everywhere. So, bear with me. As I said, the sound postcard that accompanies the first 100 orders of this, When Worlds Collide. The sound postcard, I hope, will be with me later this week or early next week. And in the meantime, I've probably got, besides the artist copies, which I'm still sending out, and I've still got many to send out, I've probably got another 50, 60, maybe 70 orders. So please bear with me. But they are going out slowly. So really, I just wanted to express, you know, how grateful I am to those people who are patient, and to try to urge you to do the same. You know, that's really it. Other than that, other than releases, as I said, Extended Network WLP Albus should be here later in the month. Excuse me. Slurp of Yorkshire tea, as usual. Yeah, Albus will be here soon. Once that's here, I will be ready to see the next releases through, which are Edward Caspar's The Sympathy Portal LP, the new Michael Cashmore CD. There's also a new Kleistwahr CD happening. But more about all of that next time, or the time after that, you know, in another couple of weeks or so. What else did I want to say? Oh, yeah. Talking of Extended Network, Andrew Fearn of Sleaford Mod's solo project, his solo electronic project. I did a chat with him last week on this channel, and I think it's a good chat. He's a nice guy. very interesting to talk with. As he said himself afterwards, we were like a couple of old ladies, you know, wittering on. I don't know if it got edited. I don't think it did. I haven't checked, but it got a little political at the end, and I'd already asked him not to do that. There are reasons for that. It's not that I'm without opinions, but sometimes students of mine from my English lessons ask for me to send links to what I do, and I teach people. I have lessons with people from all over the political and religious spectrum, and I want to tread a little carefully. It's as simple as that. I don't really like discussing politics anyway, unless it's with a group of friends over a few beers, you know, in a pub. This is not really what this channel's about. So it did get a little political at the end, and if I seem cagey at the end, it's because of the reason I just mentioned. And I'd already asked him. I said, "Please avoid politics," and then he started talking, you know, about the Polish government at the end, and yeah, no, this is stuff I want to avoid. It made me think actually of a year ago. I did a similar discussion with Stephen Wilson, and at the end of that chat, he started getting on his soapbox about veganism and suggesting I become a vegan. There's no chance of that. So, but anyway, yeah, it just reminded me of that. But we edited that out. So I know Stephen meant well by this, but he really was talking to the wrong person. So I'm afraid I like a bacon sandwich, and every time I go back to England, I like a Greggs sausage roll. So, you know, and yeah, you know, you don't need to tell me about animal farming or, you know, how awful some of the industry, or maybe all of the industry is. I've read books, I've seen documentaries, but I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I eat animals. And I find them bloody tasty, you know. So there we are. So maybe that'll alienate a few people. Yeah. What did I want? Yes, the Andrew Fearn chat, I will put a link to below. I thought there would be more people interested in that. I don't think, well, as usual, and this is really another thing I wanted to talk about. I don't think many people are aware of what I'm doing with this YouTube channel, or maybe they are and they just deliberately stay away. But I am trying to help it gain a little more traction. I would like, as I've said many times in the past, I would like to see more content here. I would like to have more chats with label people, with other artists, with people that work in the music industry that I like, you know, work in the kind of areas that I'm involved with. So, but again, most of the people I've contacted regarding that have kind of shied away. So, because they don't like talking about what, you know, whatever it is they do so much. Yeah, I think people like Alan Ryder and myself were in the minority. So, yeah, but you know, there's something of a dichotomy here, because I work with a lot of people that don't really push themselves even artistically. So I think they all just prefer to just do the music, get a release out, and let that kind of do the talking for them in a way. Whereas I've always been one for, you know, pushing what I do with the labels, with my work, etc. To that end, actually, Paul Wright, the bassist in Splintered, he's agreed to us having a chat about Splintered and what we're trying to do at the moment. We are working on new material slowly. There was a tentative plan to do a vinyl version of the last album, but it's taken so long now that other materials kind of manifesting along the way, and I think, well, I said a couple of weeks ago, we've got what 3 or 4 new songs shaping up. We might as well do a new release in its own right. So we could chat about Splintered and some of the ideas. Paul is also a teacher, so he probably doesn't have that same problem. He doesn't feel inhibited by by the idea of talking about ideas and just yammering on like me. So I don't know how it'll unfold, but and maybe even whether it will definitely happen. But it's an idea. Splintered, and yeah, I thought about even a couple of Polish artists, but they might feel inhibited by they might proclaim that their English isn't good enough. But I don't know. Maybe I can think of 1 or 2 people that would be very interesting to talk with. So we'll see. But I would like to do more of this, and in the meantime, I'm just going to keep rolling these uploads out. And all I can say really is, please, I didn't really want to do this, and maybe that's another reason why not so many people have come here. But I think you have to do this. Subscribe, share, like, all of that. The like button. Hammer the like button. Isn't that what podcasters say? Hit the like button. So do all of that stuff, and maybe this will just grow accordingly. We'll see. I'd like, there's what 300 odd subscribers now. It'd be nice if there were 500. So share it with people that you think might be interested. And also, I'll put a shop link below. There's still lots of deals in the shop, so share with people that might be interested in the kind of music that I'm releasing on Fourth Dimension and Lumberton Trading Company. Share, let's try and get some more orders coming in. Let's add to the workload. I'm not complaining much. So anyway, I'll leave it there. We're coming up to 23 minutes, and I think that is quite enough of this nonsense for this time. So thanks a lot if you've made it to the end. I'll finish my tea and get back to packing orders, I guess. So cheers. Be back here soon.